The bells rang before dawn, not for prayer, not for celebration, but for judgment. Lady Isabella of Arundel had woken to the sound of armored boots striking stone floors. The torches outside her chamber burned brighter than usual. Something was wrong, very wrong. Her husband, Lord Edmund, had left 3 weeks earlier to meet the king regarding border disputes. He had not returned. Now royal guards stood at her door. The captain did not bow. By order of His Majesty, you are accused of treason against the crown. The words felt unreal. Treason? She whispered. Her only crime was being the wife of a powerful lord in dangerous political times. The accusation claimed she had sent secret letters to a rival noble family, that she had conspired while her husband was away, that she had weakened the king's authority. The parchment bearing the royal seal trembled in the captain's hand as he read her charges aloud. But Isabella knew the truth. She had written letters. Yes, but they were about grain shipments and marriage alliances. Politics, yes, but not betrayal. Still, in medieval courts, truth did not always matter. Power did. She was escorted through the cold corridors of her own castle as servants avoided her gaze. Whispers followed her like ghosts. By midday, she stood in chains inside the great hall, beneath banners she had once helped embroider. The king would make an example of someone, and she had just become the perfect choice. The trial lasted less than an hour. The king sat high upon his throne, surrounded by clergy and loyal lords. None met her eyes. A royal scribe read the accusations dramatically, as though rehearsed. Intercepted letters, suspicious alliances, dangerous ambition. Isabella tried to speak. She demanded to see the letters. She demanded witnesses. But medieval justice was rarely balanced, especially when fear ruled the kingdom. The king had recently crushed a rebellion in the north. Rumors of unrest were spreading again. He needed control, and sometimes control required spectacle. Her husband was conveniently absent. Some whispered he had already been arrested. Others whispered worse. The king finally rose. Loyalty must be absolute, he declared, and betrayal, even by marriage, spreads like poison. There would be no execution by blade. That would make her a martyr. Instead, she would face public humiliation and lifelong imprisonment. Her lands would be seized, her title stripped, her name erased from court records. Not killed, erased, because death ends pain. But disgrace echoes, and the king wanted the echo. The town square was filled before sunrise. Villagers gathered not because they hated her, but because fear made them curious. A wooden platform stood at the center. Isabella was brought forward in a simple gray gown. Her noble jewels were gone. Her hair, once styled in gold thread braids, hung loose and unkempt. A herald read her sentence loudly. For treason against the crown, Lady Isabella is stripped of title, lands, and honor. Let this serve as warning to all who would conspire. The crowd murmured. Some faces showed pity. Others relief that it was not them. She was forced to kneel, not executed, not whipped, but marked. A heated iron bearing the royal crest was pressed against the wooden post beside her. Not her skin, but close enough to terrify. The message was clear. The crown owns your fate. She was paraded through the streets afterward, not violently, but publicly. Medieval punishment was often psychological, and humiliation can wound deeper than steel. From the balcony, the king watched silently. Satisfied, the kingdom needed fear, and fear now had a face. The prison was beneath the eastern tower. Cold, damp, forgotten. Isabella was placed inside a narrow stone cell with a single slit window. Straw covered the floor. Chains lined the walls, though she was not bound constantly. Days turned to weeks. News traveled slowly, but whispers reached her. Her husband had been arrested. Her lands redistributed to a loyal lord. Her name removed from church records, as if she had never existed. That was the true punishment. Erasure. But something unexpected happened. Instead of breaking, she endured. She memorized scripture. She carved small marks into stone to count days. She refused to beg. Guards began to see her not as a traitor, but as a woman caught in politics far above her. Even rumors began to shift. Was she truly guilty, or merely convenient? But medieval kings rarely admit mistakes, and power rarely restores what it destroys. Still, she survived, and survival itself became defiance. The rebellion the king feared came anyway, but not because of Isabella, because fear breeds resentment, and resentment breeds resistance. When the king died suddenly during winter, the political winds shifted. Records were reviewed. Whispers turned into questions. Her husband, long imprisoned, was found innocent of conspiracy. Quietly, without ceremony, Isabella was released. No apology. No restoration of title, just freedom. She walked out of the prison thinner, older, but unbroken. The kingdom had tried to erase her. Instead, they had created a symbol. Her story spread among noble families, not loudly, but persistently, a reminder that power punishes not only the guilty, but the vulnerable. The king had meant to send a message. He had, but not the one he intended, because sometimes the harshest punishments reveal the greatest injustices, and history remembers both.